Alright, hello everyone. Welcome to my full review of the Lenovo Legion Go. So I have flown to Brazil and back. Spent 3 weeks there, and plus a couple weeks I'm already back. Maybe it's even 3 weeks already that I'm back. I've had the Lenovo Legion Go for more than a month now, and I can tell you what my use of it was and what my impressions of it are, generally speaking. Maybe try to help people decide on what to get or not to get, or just help with understanding this machine a little bit better. But on my trip, in the end, I didn't really need to have this with me. If I didn't have this with me, I would have been fine. So in the end, I don't really need this device, but I don't necessarily regret buying it. I will explain where does this all go, but generally speaking, I mean, the best decision for me might have been not have bought anything, but I'm not hurting for the 700 euro that I spent on this, so it's okay, it's fine. I have been using it actually, so that there is that. So let's talk about the trip on an airplane, on the different airports and everything. How did this go? On the flight to Brazil, I had a power outlet available. I'm not sure how much power those power outlets deliver to you, but I had this power mode. It's a custom power mode with balanced and efficiency selected. And so it's custom, but it's not a custom TDP here on the right, not the thermal mode. The thermal mode is balanced. The performance mode is a custom performance mode. You'll only understand this if you have a Lenovo Legion Go and you've already gone through this. I limit my frames to 60. So that's what I was using, and this was enough. I mean, this power from the outlet was enough to carry the console through 6 hours of Fallout 4 during the flight, which was a blessing, because in that flight specifically, again, I had a power outlet, but you could not lean your seats back almost anything. It was pretty terrible. Like I always joke about this that can lean seats back on airplanes like 3 degrees. It's something ridiculous. It, like, when you're leaned back, it's basically the position that you're usually sitting on a chair, because it's usually slightly leaned back, and then when you stand it up, you're just straight up, right? And so it was very uncomfortable and impossible to sleep. I didn't have anything sitting right next to me, so that was nice. But otherwise, again, I couldn't lie down on the seats next to me, because there was a person there was an empty seat between me and another person who was also using there. But well, I used it a lot. It was, very, very nice. 6 hours playing Fallout 4 passed like it's nothing. You feel like no time passed when you're playing this game. Time doesn't pass. I don't feel the time passing, is what I want to say. Especially beginning a new game. In the very beginning, everything takes forever to happen. Progress is very slow in this game, in my opinion. So, in the airports and everything, I could also use in other flights. I didn't really use in the short flights, I don't think. You can totally use it, but it's not that necessary in a couple-hour flight, right? Or if you're in the airport for a little while. I had very short connections. So I was just grabbing something to eat, eating it, and going out again to take the next plane. So with all that said, the experience was very nice in that flight. And then after that, I thought I might do some some work on this, but I didn't need it. The computers that were available there, they were not just enough, but I thought I was gonna grab some information and take it with me. And in the end, I didn't really do that. I didn't really need to do that because things were doing better there than I thought they were. And so on the flight back, the situation was basically completely different. It was a different company operating the flight. The seats did lean back. Not a lot, but a reasonable amount. But you didn't really have too much leg space. You didn't have much space between it. It was just like a normal flight where you could lean your seat back, but we did not have a power outlet. And so you're sitting there in a 12-hour flight. You can lean your seat, but you know, with a Steam Deck, I could probably get the Steam Deck OLED and play Fallout 4 for 3 hours, 4 hours maybe, and that's pretty decent. It gets you through a chunk of the flight, but it doesn't get you through the entire flight anyway. Nothing takes you through entire flight nowadays. You need a retro handheld to get yourself 8 hours of battery life, but I wouldn't want that. I the 6 hours that I played in the other flight, that was still limit. Like I can't play more than that. But that was night, right? I just, especially I didn't have anyone next to me. I wasn't bothering anyone directly next to me. And I think the other guy was next to me also. He basically didn't sleep either. He was working. And so I was in this flight back. I did have a big guy next to me, and the person in front of me leaned the seat back when it was time to sleep. And at that point, it's like you have no choice. Like the seat from the person in front of you is like 20 centimeters from your face. You can't do anything. You can't watch a movie on the screen from the airplane itself because I can't. It's too close to my face. It's like right next to my face. But the seat does lean back, so I leaned the seat back and I tried to sleep a bit, and I actually could. So that was a good thing, actually, because when I came back, I needed to work the next day. And so I was a little bit rested, so I got I don't know, if I try to sleep like 7 hours in an airplane, I probably get some 3 or 4 hours of sleep, and I'm gonna be going on and off. But I don't think I even used the Lenovo Legion Go in that situation. Okay, I think I didn't even do that at all. So it was useless, right? It was half useless, this thing. And would a Nintendo Switch have been better because I have more battery life? Or maybe, possibly. Would I have used it with the entire seating situation? I'm not sure. So that's the experience that was lacking. Like, what does it do when you're actually using it, right? Now, sometimes I take the train. If I take the train to work, it's like a 15-minute ride. I don't need to have any, like, I just read a couple manga stories online on Shueisha Manga Plus. That's enough. Like, I'm not gonna game for 10 minutes, right? But if I take a train that it's a half an hour train ride, then I do use the Lenovo Legion Go, and then it does what it should do at that point, right? That is the perfect place for it. Like, you have a short trip or maybe a 1 hour trip, but then you can charge it again, because I know I have 1 hour, 1 hour and a half of battery life in this thing. I know I have that. I mean, I know I have 1 hour, 100%, right? Whatever I do, the way I'm using it, I know I have 1 hour. and I'll still have some juice. It's not gonna be dead in 1 hour. It's like dead in 1 hour and a half, the way I've been using it, playing these games that are AAA games, whatever. And so if I have a 1 hour trip, I know I'm safe. And so if I have more than that, then no. But generally speaking, unless I'm desperate, I don't really play too much more than 1 hour. I don't want to play games for more than 1 hour straight. And so it fits. Generally speaking, it actually fits. And if I'm at home, and I have been using this at home, if I lie down on the couch and I want to relax, I can either read something or play this. And I do play this. And I do hold it up in front of my face with arms stretched out in front of me with this thing up there. And it's been fine. I mean, it's these edges they do bother me a little bit, as they bother other people when you're holding it like that. And that's definitely not ideal, but it's fine. And maybe I'll change position after a while and lay on my side and have one arm being supported by something. But the weight is not, to me, it's not terrible, the weight. I've been learning that for these devices, to me, I don't know, for other people, this is the problem with reviewing these things. Everything is about the ergonomics and personal use. You have to figure it out for yourself. There's no answers for these questions. But to me, it's more important to have good grips and ergonomics on it than the weight itself. Even if it's a Nintendo DS or something, it gets really cramped and uncomfortable and bothers me, you know, because I have to hold it in such weird ways. And this thing, no, you really hold it like this, right? You hold it like a controller because it has these huge grips. Like, this is so thick, this thing. It's ridiculous. But that's really good because you're holding onto this like a controller where you have your fingers wrapped around these grips on the back. And that disperses the weight, and it's a comfortable way of holding it. And then when you have it with the screen facing the floor, you'll hold it like this, right? And that's where this part of the controller digs into your hand, and it should have been more rounded for version 2 or if they release new controllers. But it doesn't, like, depending on how you hold it, it doesn't dig that much into your hands, but it does. It does actually, get a little bit uncomfortable. It actually does. So maybe the Steam Deck is really good for that. I don't know. So that's one of the uses. The other use that I have is, as you can see, it's on my desk right now, and I sometimes sit like this, and I put this more to the side, and then I put my feet on a chair, and I lean my office chair back, and I play some games like this. Sometimes I take the controllers out and put this on top of my keyboard when I'm playing the keyboard, to have something to use, to look up stuff. And so the thing that I really like about this device, the thing that makes me use it a lot, really is the fact that it's very flexible. I can use it for, if I'm using it not playing games, I can use it for 3, 4, 5 hours doing different things as a tablet. And I really like the fact that for my use case, that you can take the controllers off when you're doing that, because I don't have too much real estate on top of a keyboard. Sometimes, depending on what desk you're using, what table you're using, how things are laid out, having all this extra space kind of sucks. And so just taking it off and having just a tablet, the only thing that's really annoying about that specifically is that this button, it is on the controller. So you take the controller out, you don't have that button anymore. I very often have this with a keyboard. I bought this cheap, very cheap mechanical Bluetooth keyboard that has a dongle. The dongle is plugged into a computer, and the Bluetooth is connected to this and to my Android tablet, and so that's very, again, very flexible. I'm learning that, to me personally right now. Very flexible things have been good. As I said, like, why would you use this as a mouse? You can just get a cheap mouse. This one is a Bluetooth, very cheap mouse. Whenever I want to use a mouse, I just grab this that's lying around somewhere, and then I use it, and that's it. And I don't have to worry about this FPS thing, because again, it's so easy to. Now, if I don't have a mouse with me, I could use it, but I'll probably just use this. If I really need a mouse, like to play games and everything, then I'm just gonna take a mouse with me. Otherwise, I'm gonna use the touch screen or the touchpad, and it works. Like if you're just going through Windows and doing stuff, just the touchpad is it's a very nice addition. Sometimes it's very annoying to have to use the touch screen. Usually it's fine for most of the use that I'm doing, like just clicking around here to get into Fallout and play the game, because it has a launcher and this and that, and you have to swipe and you have to change and you have to do something, change the windows and do stuff like that. And that's fine. That works perfectly fine, and it can be a little bit cumbersome to use the touch screen when you're holding onto the handheld, because you have to, again, I explained that in another video. You have to like hold it like this or do something to be able to, because you can't just hold this entire thing with one hand here on the controller. I don't recommend that, because it's a lot of torque put on this junction here, right? And then that could break this thing with time. So what else do we have? For my specific use case scenario, I didn't need to have bought this. If I didn't buy this, I would have been fine. I would be playing games on something else. I'd be doing something different. I've been using this. I stopped using my gaming PC because it was having a few problems. My Windows installation is Windows 10 and it's busted on that PC. There are a couple games that I can't play because I just can't install the packages, those extra packages of C++ or whatever, into the system anymore, because it's so busted, because it had memory issues and it corrupted system files. And I can reinstall Windows and upgrade that PC again and whatever, but it's old anyway. I'm gonna upgrade it and do stuff or fix stuff, and it's probably gonna have issues anyway in a little while. I don't know when, but this is a Ryzen 5 2600, right? It's many years old, so it is what it is. This processor right here is the processor itself is more powerful. The GPU, I think it's a bit weaker in this handheld than the 970 that I have on the gaming PC, GTX 970, but it's not far off, and I see some faster loading times and some things like that on this right here than on that PC, so it's fine. It's nice to go from a PC to a handheld but not actually lose too much, which is saying something, right? Because a handheld, it's actually weak. Even a notebook, they are actually weak, right? But a good notebook's going to be much more powerful than this, because it's going to have a dedicated graphics card. Okay, so going away from this, buy this or not buy this, should I have bought something else? Do I feel like, well, if I only I had bought a Nintendo Switch, oh, if only I had bought a Steam Deck, if only I had bought, well, no, I don't have that regret. I don't have. I think for me, this really is the console. To me, to my use. Generally speaking, battery life is not a critical element of my use. It's the quality of the experience that I'm having. I in the use that I have been doing, and it's just organic use for the console, for the device. What's important to me, that the controls are good, and sometimes I do use my Xbox controller, but I very often use it. I almost thought about for a certain moment, like just ditching these controllers altogether and just having this as a tablet. But no, I actually do use the controllers. Like, you can, if I'm on the in the airports and everything, and the flight back, I didn't talk about this. I didn't use this console on the airplane, but I actually did use it in the airports, because I had longer connections between stuff, and so I would go to a restaurant or a bar or anything in the security area already in the airports, and I'd set it up, and then I'd play it with the controllers detached, and then I would just I do that. But also in the airplane, when I was going, it doesn't work detached. You have to attach it because of the angles and everything. Even if you have that little table, it's too low. I need to have it higher, and so attaching the controller is the best way to do that. If I'm on the sofa, I'm often attached, and if I get tired of that, I can change the position and do something else. And changing positions in the middle of a gaming session is actually a nice thing, right? Instead of just sitting 1 hour in one position, you go like for half an hour in one position, go have 15 minutes in another position, and then 15 minutes in a different layout. And that's all been nice, right? It's not that I get huge pains or anything if I'm gaming in one position, but it is still a good thing to change that up and to be able. So I'm very satisfied with that. A Nintendo Switch is just too weak. I would be very annoyed if I had bought a Nintendo Switch whenever I was using it on a big screen and just have this garbage performance. Again, it was basically not an option because I've never bought a game for the Lenovo Legion Go. I already own all the games that I want to play on this. I probably use this its entire lifespan without buying more than just a handful, 2 or 3, 4 games maybe. Maybe not even that much. Because again, I have a full library of Steam games, and I have not finished most of them. Even the games that I played the most, this game right here, you can see throughout the years I played this for 130 hours, and I never finished the story of this game anyway, so I can still do that, which will take me months to finish the story of this with the rhythm that I play. And so having something that has my Steam library and GOG library, and that's the other thing. A lot of these games that I own and that I really want to play, they're on GOG. And so if I'm going to go through the hassle of everything with the Steam Deck, I just wouldn't. I'd rather have a Windows thing. And so I think this is better than the Ally, and definitely better than the MSI Claw that wasn't even out when I bought this. And so, yeah, as far as my use case scenario goes, this really is it. But let me tell you something, and I think this is probably the most important part of this review for a lot of people, because I think the biggest competitor that this has is the Steam Deck. I think the Switch, again, it's just not nice enough, right? But the Steam Deck, it's really easy to misunderstand what happens around the Steam Deck, and look at this and look at the Steam Deck and think, oh well, these consoles are better, right? If I want a premium experience, I will get the Lenovo Legion Go, and that's not really how it goes. I don't feel like that's how it goes. Why? What am I talking about? Well, the Steam Deck is better designed and implemented for what it is than the handhelds, the Windows handhelds. That processor, even though it's 6 nanometers and it's 6 cores and this is 8 cores, and it has a lower end GPU than this has more power. But when you take a look at the actual performance that they get out of the systems, it is much more similar than you would think. So unless you are plugging this in all the time and blasting power into these handhelds, full power like 25, 30 watts, unless you're doing that and you are actually using it on an external monitor and plugged into power and everything, you're not gonna get the power that is possible to get with these handhelds unless you destroy the battery life. Because if you go full power on this, you're gonna get 1 hour flat probably on most games, right? Again, this has like this very nice 1600p screen at 144 hertz. The 144 hertz, like, it's just dumb. Like, sorry, I know a lot of people seem to value that a lot and everything, but are you gonna really do that? You're really gonna push this? Because it pushes both CPU and GPU. If you increase the resolution alone, it at least pushes the GPU, but it doesn't push the CPU anymore. So if you want to play 1600p at 30 frames per second, there is a balance there. And on this screen, I think it's totally overkill. It's good to me, the screen, because it's very nice to read sheet music at high resolutions. It gets a crisp image, and the size is not as important as being crisp. If you have it crisp, it's fine. But if it's kind of blurry, it's awful, even if it's a very big screen. So high resolutions are a good thing, at least 1080p to read sheet music. And so 720p, I've tried different tablets, and the 720p is just not good for reading sheet music. For other stuff, it's fine. For gaming, I game on 800p all the time. On this console, I don't have a problem. So the Steam Deck does much more with what it got. And you really, if you're trying to get that balanced performance and balance out the battery life and get more than an hour of battery life, the Steam Deck is just a better performer in that sense, where you'll get actually 3 hours of battery life from the Steam Deck on certain games. But on these handhelds, on these these Windows handhelds, you're just not gonna get that very easily. And there is the caveat that when you're running very, very demanding games on the Steam Deck, it also can't do too much. Like, you're still gonna be a couple hours only. Like, it's not gonna play, as far as I've seen, it's not gonna play Cyberpunk 2077 for many hours, because you need then to put more power into the machine to just run the game. And so at that point, it's gonna have like a certain parity between the Steam Deck and these Windows consoles. But for anything that allows you to lower the TDP, the Steam Deck is more efficient at lower TDPs. Seems to be a software thing, but it could be even a hardware thing. I'm not sure. There is a lot of specific optimization done to many games on the Steam Deck. So if you're playing mainstream games and you value battery life and you can live with just playing your Steam library, and you don't need a detachable controllers. It doesn't even have a stand, the Steam Deck. For me, like, these detachable controllers are very important, and the stand and the size and the resolution of the screen. These are all very important things. Like, I don't even think about it. I don't want the Steam Deck, and and also I need my GOG library, so it's a no-brainer. But if those concerns are not your concern, if you're just gonna use it handheld, 7 inches, 7.4 inches maybe, I don't remember exactly the size of that screen on the Steam OLED, but a Steam Deck OLED, just the OLED, the LCD has poor battery life, just forget it. But the OLED really did improve on that. They fixed that, and it's a big step forward in that sense, and better than I think any other PC handhelds, x86 handhelds out there. So I would go for that, right? The Switch, as I said, I mean, it's okay. It's nice that you have long battery life. It's much cheaper if you don't have a library of games yet and you want to get something. But it's just the Nintendo Switch is so freaking weak. It's like if you're used to PC gaming, and unfortunately you can get used back to it, but so many games running at 30 frames per second with blurry graphics, like, it's not nice. I don't know. It's like, if I have enough money that if I'm spending time doing something, I want to have a good time. And I think the Lenovo Legion Go kind of achieves that. Probably a gaming PC would be, I mean, definitely would give me much more graphical fidelity and everything. But I just like the flexibility. If I want to plug this thing into a 1080p screen and play a game at 1080p, I can do that. No problem with the Lenovo Legion Go. And to me, 1080p is fine for playing games. On the small screen, 800p is enough for me. Fallout 4 has a lot of text and everything, and it plays beautiful in this screen. Like, even Monster Hunter Rise, actually I have a harder time looking at the map. If I'm playing on a desk like this, I have to approach a little bit to get my face closer to the map to look at exactly the symbols that I need to see in the map, and then I keep playing at my normal looking distance. When I'm holding it handheld, I hold it closer to my face than on the desktop, right? So yeah, it's really, to me, this is the console that does what I want the best, and that's what counts for me. I don't have any regrets having gotten this. Now, this thing, though, as I said, $700. Yeah, but it's not $700. It's more, because I had to buy this, and I bought this specific one. It's not one of the most recommended ones, but this has 2 HDMI outs, a power port. This is for feeding power into it, and then this is just a controller in USB, and you have a couple USBs and a USB-C, and again the HDMIs. And so if you want to connect this doesn't have an HDMI out port. You need to break it out from the USB-C. So I bought that. That was very important. Another thing that I bought for the flights, because the power supply on the Lenovo Legion Go is kind of annoying. It's not huge. It's not a huge problem or anything, but it's large. It's larger. So I bought this one. This UGREEN, it's 65 watts. It's the same power as the charger from the Lenovo Legion Go. It works just fine with the Lenovo Legion Go. And again, the important thing is it's much smaller. It's thick. It's just like a little bit of those bigger cell phone chargers, but it's thicker like this, right? Because I don't know any cell phone charger that is as thick as this, but otherwise all the orientations are good. And this can, and it has done that on an airplane, on the airport, right? You can plug the Legion Go to one port and use it while you're charging your cell phone. It's not gonna fast charge both the Lenovo Legion Go and your phone, but if you're spending 3-4 hours on the airport you know, using your cell phone or a tablet and the Lenovo Legion Go, both of them, at the end of your 2-3 hours there, both devices are going to be fully charged instead of, you know, a lot uncharged or even out of battery. And it's just one charger that you take on your trip, or that I took on my trip, I don't care what you do, that charged all my devices, of course, right? The tablet. I only had like this Lenovo, an Android tablet, and my cell phone. That's what I had. And that will take me through everything. So the other thing that was very important to my trip, the other accessory, the last one, the last piece of the puzzle. And let me turn this off completely to show you what I need to show you. So let me take a look here. Because it's the bag. I bought a bag. Because you can, of course you can just use the gigantic Lenovo Legion Go protective case that is really nice. It's a really good case. I don't have any complaints about it because, again, it's a nice piece of kit. It works as intended, protects the thing, right? And it comes, the console comes with it, so that's a very good thing. But it's this, right? It's this. The Lenovo Legion Go goes inside of it just fine. I even use it to store the console when I'm at home. The only thing that I find annoying is that you have to remember to just put this over there. Otherwise, when you put this in, then you want to take it out. Of course, it's going to be cat hair everywhere. You tug on this. If you can't tug on this, you have to tug on the analog sticks to take this out because your fingers don't really go in here, right, properly. So you have to remember to do that. That's the only annoying thing about this bag. But look at the size. And this only has space for the Lenovo Legion Go. So if I go on a trip and I have a backpack and I'm going to put this thing inside of the backpack, not only that, it's going to take a ton of space from my backpack, and this hole itself, this case itself, it's quite heavy. It's like 300 or 400 grams. So it takes a lot of space, and you can't put anything else inside of here, and except for that little thing that I don't even use, as I said. And so the thing for the FPS mode. So what I did was I bought this thing. I bought this. Okay. It's one of those sling bags. The size of this is just a little bit bigger than the size of the Lenovo Legion bag, right? It's just a little bit. I can't put this both on camera at all right now, but it's just a little bit bigger to the sides and in depth. It's just believe me, it's just a little bit bigger. It's not much of a difference. Now, the Lenovo Legion Go, of course, it fits in here, but it's not. This is not a dedicated thing for handhelds. There is not super protection or anything. I went with the I just don't care approach. I just put it in here like this, and that's it, right? But of course, I'm not gonna get then and put a screwdriver here and some nails and what. No, I'm just. This is gonna be for the Lenovo Legion Go, and then here on the front, I can have like that charger on one side, and it doesn't line up with the analog stick, and so it makes that volume that makes the analog stick here have some space for itself. And then on the other side, I can have my wallet or something like that. Here on the back, it actually fit barely, but it fit my 10-inch tablet. And then what I was doing, no, sorry, here on the front, I was putting my cell phone. So I have the charger, the cables I roll up and put it here on the back. Tablet there. Cell phone in the front with the charger. Here on the back, it's still my my passport and in my Brazilian ID. I needed both of those, and because this is a wider pouch, the tickets, the boarding passes also fit in here. So this was really nice. Like I had a pouch in this where I knew I had my passport and all my ID stuff and the boarding passes in here, and then my cell phone is right in front. So if the stuff that I need immediately, it's very, very easy to grab. And then the stuff that I need, like a certain agility off, I also had it handy, right? And so I don't remember whether I had something else in here, like, but I don't think so. And on top of this, I had a tissue or something, because I always need tissues. But the overall, like, it just worked very, very well. As this is a TomTalk something. I can try to link some of this stuff in the description below to help you search for this. And this TomTalk sling bag is my bag now, right? I have my keys and my wallet in there all the time. When I come out of the house, I just slide my cell phone in there and put a couple other things like sunglasses or something like that, and then off I go. Because I usually use a backpack, and if it's winter, I'll have stuff in my pockets. But a backpack is, I mean, you guys have to know that, right? A backpack is really annoying to use when you're just grabbing stuff out of it and putting it back on. It's very annoying. If I have my sunglasses on and I want to take them out, I have to take my backpack out of my bag and open and find some place there. So if I have this, or if I would just want to use my cell phone. Now, if it's winter, I have pockets on my jacket and everything, then it's fine. But if it's not as cold, and right now it's not as cold, I need a bag. And the bag that I used to have, the zipper broke, and so I had to buy something new. So I bought this one. It fits the Lenovo Legion Go, but it fits anything you want to put in there. So I often use it now without the Lenovo Legion Go. I like it very much. Okay, so that was the piece of the puzzle. So in that entire airport situation, right, I had a bag, I had a charger, I had the cables. I didn't take the USB hub with me at all. I didn't take the keyboard. I didn't take anything. Controller. I just had a Lenovo Legion Go in there with its charger and a USB cable that I bought extra also, because I needed a longer one to be able to be sure to have enough length to charge it whenever I need it. Just, I don't know, 2 or 3 meters long. Looking now, yeah, I'm not sure, but between 2 and 3 meters long. And so 6 feet, more or less. This is a bit more, like 8 feet, 7 feet, I don't know. And so that's the, overall the use that I gave to this and how it happened. Really, the best purchase was this TomTalk purse. I really like it. It was really nice. It's very important in airports to have stuff organized. I went with a minimalistic approach this time, and it was very good. On the way to Brazil, I kind of failed in that. I kind of had some stuff, and I was having stuff in the backpack and in the sling bag. And on the way back, I was like in no one, but there's also a difference that in the way back, it was not as cold here anymore in Germany. So I went to Brazil. It's cold. It's warm there. It was hot there, but it was very cold here, so I need to take jackets and everything. But on the way back, I was like, no, you know what? I'm just gonna get because it was very hot in Brazil. I was gonna get the backpack and just put jackets in that, like a sweater and a jacket, and that's the backpack, because it fills up the backpack quite a lot just having those items in there, and then just a little bit of food, and I don't know, like barely anything else in the backpack. So the backpack is just like luggage. I'm just bringing it with myself, and then I can just throw it on top of the flight. But the things were, because the backpack was light, I could take the sling bag under the seat over the backpack, and it was still fitting. Yeah, it was, and then the sling bag had basically everything that I needed to use, and that was very nice. Like, that was very comfortable to use all the time, and whatever I needed, I always had it right, at my hands, because it's terrible to stress out about the freaking passport and boarding passes and your cell phone and your wallet and all that, and just have a big enough bag that has all that stuff, and you don't have to be opening and closing your backpack to get through the security. Yes, I did have my toothbrush and toothpaste in the backpack because it doesn't fit the sling bag, and so, but that's just like a one-off thing. You just have it on top, take it out, or either to use it or just to get through customs, and otherwise you just forget that the backpack's on your back, but you just forget about it. You just have to lug it around, and that was very good. On the last flight, there was a lot of trouble with all the overhead compartments, not enough place. I just had everything under the seat in front of me. Yeah, it's good to travel light if you can. It's very nice to travel light if you can. And this is the Lenovo Legion Go for me, for myself. I am actually, to me, this thing is very, very well designed, except for like this aesthetic decision that they made, which is aesthetic in my opinion. I think this device looks great, but this is not very comfortable. This is the only thing I can say that I think, well, this should have been different. There are no, it's not a compromise thing. I call compromise visuals to have it more comfortable. Yeah, sure, of course you're going to compromise the aesthetic of it to make it more comfortable in your hand when you're playing games. That's the function of it, the main function of it, right? So just don't compromise there. All the other decisions that I would say, oh, maybe they should have done this. Well, I mean, maybe it would have been better, but it's a compromise. These buttons are very far from here. You have to do this. This is very far. But well, the closer together they are, the easier it is to press them when you don't want to. Now, is it better? Would it be better if they were closer together and closer to the D-pad? Probably. Possibly. Even the D-pad, if it's possible. I'm not sure it's possible physically here. To get it slider more up might have been okay. Right? It might have been okay. But not too much, but a little bit. This button could have been, yeah, but this button I don't use because it's mapped to opening the software. I mean, I use it, but it's so freaking rare. This could be on the back of the system. It's like once in a while to change the setting for the battery saving stuff, I open the Lenovo software, or to make the updates that are not that frequent. So this is start and select though. So this, but it doesn't really bother me too much because I can grip on this and then do this, and my thumb is long enough and I don't have to relocate. But I can imagine that for some people they almost have to relocate their hands to do this. So they probably change on the settings the select and start for these buttons, right? Because you can do that too. You can go into the menus and make like select and start, and this to be your Lenovo Legion and your quick options thing. I don't do that. I actually leave the quick options there and these buttons here, and it's fine for me. All of the other designs, the other thing that maybe I mean, not maybe, that the other thing, the one thing that's crap about this is the speakers. It's crap. But the other thing that's not nice is these buttons. This for mouse back and forward is good. That is fine. I have zero problems with that in mouse mode that I don't really use. This is also very nice. Actually, this gets used because you don't even have to be in mouse mode. You can just use it to scroll around stuff when you're in Windows, and it's good both in mouse mode and just as it is as a handheld. Very well done. But these buttons are useless because you press them so much not wanting to. When you're holding this, you're pressing these buttons all the time. So I can't imagine that I would ever map them to something important because I was just pressing them constantly, you know, without wanting to. So useless. You could take them out. I don't know. You have to make them much smaller, harder to press, find a better place for them because the way they are, and I think this opinion is quite common, they're useless. Like, you just don't even bother. If you make a second console and that was gonna be, you're gonna just not change that, don't bother. Don't just don't put them in there. Just make it flat and you know, just take those buttons out. Because I doubt more than 10% of the people are using them, and I bet you at least half the people who have this are annoyed by the fact that they're just pressing these buttons constantly that they have no use for. Because it is a little bit jarring to have to be pressing buttons, right? I don't care too much. I really don't. But it is a jarring thing. The one thing that I forgot to talk about is when I don't have these controllers attached, it is a little bit clumsy to have them just one in each hand, and it has advantages. It has nice things that you can do while having them. Like, for example, I was talking about, like, if you want to press start like this, but you're really like walking, if you're walking forward and you want to press start, you can't just keep walking and press start. You'd have to do like this or something like that. But if these are detached, you can just do like holding the thing. You can just press there because this finger is not doing anything. These other fingers, you can keep using them however you want, and you just move the thing and press here, or even a D-pad. I've found myself switching weapons because I'm walking. If I'm walking back and I need to switch weapons because I'm being attacked by enemies and I need to switch back, and you think that my hands are like this. I'm walking back here, I just do this and I switch the weapon with my right hand on the D-pad because I can still use my thumb to move the camera around and press buttons, right? Or if I'm shooting here, I can do with the thumb, but that's actually an advantage. That's actually quite practical. But I think even if they were very close together, and one of those things that joins both sides, it's more ergonomic because especially when you're using here and both these buttons, the controller, when detached, it kind of slips around and rolls around a little bit in your hand, or in my hand, sorry. So it does happen. That's a little bit annoying, but this is really it. I mean, I can't talk too much about the performance. I have to tell you, I really do tend to just lower the settings, generally speaking, and I'm playing older games, and I'll keep playing older games. The games that I really want to play on this device are PlayStation 2 emulation, and then Fallout 4, Skyrim, Monster Hunter Rise, which is probably the newest game that I have intentions of playing, but it's a Nintendo Switch game that was ported, so it's very lightweight. Dragon's Dogma, not Dragon's Dogma 2, the Dragon's Dogma, the original one. I want to play eventually on this. And then there is another important thing that I forgot to talk about when I was talking about the Steam Deck. There are niche indie games out there that potentially will just not work on the Steam Deck because they are just small games that sold barely anything, probably don't have any kind of support anymore, and nobody's gonna care on Steam to make patches and fix things for the game to work on the Steam Deck. I have such games that when you look at them on Steam, they are not, they don't have a status as to whether they work on Steam Deck or not, because nobody tested and reported whether it even works. Again, I did tell you, if you want to play higher profile games on Steam, get the Steam Deck. I only said that, but I didn't like qualify that comment and explain what I mean by that more specifically. It's just the fact that when, like me, you have a broad library of games, a really broad library of games with a lot of very tiny indies that nobody heard about, stuff like Muri, MURI, you know, and these shooters and things like that, these scrolling spaceship shooters that are like these tiny projects made by someone 10 years ago. And I play these games sometimes, you know. This is a part of my gaming, generally speaking. I might install these games on here and play, and this has plenty power. I could probably get 3 hours of battery life playing some of these games, like, you know, Evil Quest on Steam, or even not on Steam, or just install from the installer. Will these games work on Steam Deck? I'm sure some of them will and others won't, you know. And then having that uncertainty is unnecessary for me, and the performance and all that is just irrelevant, because those games they barely use your CPU, your GPU, you know. The CPU more or less probably just one thread, right? That they barely, these programmers can probably barely share the although probably the compilers are doing that for them, but to what extent? And they probably don't need too much. And as I said, even those indie games that I got, most of them are like 4 years old. I haven't been buying new games since the pandemic. I haven't really been buying too many new games. Pandemic kind of took me out of gaming, as opposed to most people who got more into gaming during the pandemic. I kind of got more out of gaming during the pandemic and started focusing more on music. So the games that I have are old, and that's really good. I've always loved playing old video games because I very often had bad hardware, cheap computers with entry-level graphics cards, and I don't like messing with low settings and having bad performance. I like having good performance. And since the year 2000, the solution has been very simple. Play old games and they're gonna run great on your crappy hardware. And on these handhelds, that's still true. And that's exactly what's going on here. Like if I'm playing these older games, and doesn't have to be super old, like 5-year-old games, 6-year-old games, generally speaking, they're gonna run okay on this, and anything that's more than 10 years old, if it's not having problems with the architectures and drivers and everything, it should work just fine. I think this is a very high-end, comparable to a very high-end device from 10 years ago. So that's basically it. I think for that use, it's fine. I don't have any kind of wobble on my controllers, any kind of problem, but I take a lot of care when I'm using the device. Again, as I said, not to hold it only on one hand. I also am very careful about how I attach and detach. The mechanism is very well done, but it is a bit fiddly because you have to line it up correctly. If you line it up correctly, there is no force involved into getting this in and out. There really isn't, but you have to line it up properly. Otherwise, you are going to be forced, and then the little edges of these connectors and everything are going to be always scraping and wearing off, and it's going to make a difference. I think that's what people are seeing, and maybe they hold the entire thing on one side and things start loosening up and they get that wobble, but I'm not sure what makes the wobble appear. What I'm sure of is I don't have any wobble, and I'm very happy with the design overall. Again, it's a ridiculous handheld. People look at you when you take this out on the train, because it is like it's massive. It's massive, and when you put it in, when you grab it in your hands and you look at it the first time, it's massive. And when you get used to this, whenever you look at something else, it's ridiculously small. And I did come back to a store to test again the Ally, the ROG Ally. They had the MSI Claw. The MSI Claw is identical to the Ally. They just stole that design shamelessly. They shouldn't have done that. They should have improved on the design more. They should have changed it more. They just ripped it off. Ridiculous. Changed the color, but still, like, it's such a clear rip off. It, yeah. They changed it more. The functionality of it and the construction and everything, it's not, but like the button placements are the same, the general lines are the same, the proportions, the screen, everything, like, so ridiculously similar. And I tested that. I grabbed those consoles in my hand. I grabbed the Nintendo Switch. Dude, the Nintendo Switch, I can't even imagine. Like, it's so uncomfortable holding it with those like, there's no way I'd use that with those Joy-Cons. I would immediately have to get one of those bigger Joy-Cons, and at that point, like, the thing is barely portable. The Hori Joy-Con whatever Pro thing that they have that you attach to the Nintendo Switch to have it be comfortable to hold, those don't work detached unless you have like a specific thing, a specific connector that joins them up, and then I think you have to use it wired, at which point, like, just get a Pro controller. I don't like it. It's not like the Lenovo Legion Go. They do work, right? You can just detach them and keep working them and attach them again and keep playing. If they are on and you need to turn them off, you can turn them off by holding these buttons here. Just hold this button and this will turn off. Hold this button, it will turn off. Just like an Xbox controller with the Xbox button. It does have all that flexibility out of the box, and it works. On the Nintendo Switch, by the point I have these different controllers, and I'd have to buy a special case just for that, or just I would use the same Tom Talk bag, what I'm talking about. But then you still have that small screen, and you still have low power. Probably for handheld use, it's probably okay. It's probably fine to play those games blurry and at 30 frames per second, because really the smaller screen makes a huge difference. It really smooths things out. I was taking a look at myself playing Fallout 4, And generally speaking, I have no complaints from the graphics, and I have it in medium settings. And then one day I was thinking about the graphics. I was not playing the game just to enjoy myself. I was looking at it and thinking about the graphics. And then I started noticing there is a lot of pop-in. The pop-in is very close to you. And it's like, that's not nice. But when I'm playing the game, I don't actually see it. If I was looking at it in a big screen, I'd probably notice it a lot. But on an 8.8 inch screen, I don't notice it as much. I have it at 800p with anti-aliasing on, and it looks smooth and crisp and fine to me. No problem there. You know, again, but that's me. My vision is at 90 now, right? 90%. I don't see perfectly anymore. So it's your brain correcting stuff, or you making out details that you don't actually see. So, you know, it works for me. And again, I think it's impossible. I watched many videos about these consoles, about these things, and you know, people thought that YouTube was gonna be the salvation for gaming because IGN and all that, like, you know, they're just shills for these companies, and they're not honest about. But dude, IGN is one of the best now because YouTube has fallen so low, and I just see people like, okay, it's like, oh, this is the best handheld. And it's like, well, just you're saying that, but like, you know, you don't know what people are gonna use this for. Like, there's no best or worse, all right? And so there are some people that are good at that. They just tell you what it does and what it doesn't do, and explain to you. Again, if you think something gigantic might be uncomfortable to hold, or you know, and this is another problem with the, you know, if you can go to a store and grab this in your hand and try to hold it up for a little while, you know, because in 2 minutes you're not gonna have a feel for it. But the Steam Deck, you can't go to a store and grab it, you know, and that's a huge disadvantage because I don't know still today. I can't tell you whether I would be fine with a Steam Deck or not. No, outside from the software aspect of it, the thing that bothers me about but that's just pettiness from myself, that the Steam Deck is as wide as this thing is, right? It's just shorter like this, and the ROG Ally is just a little bit like this and like this, but the screen has much more bezel. Like, you see the top and bottom bezels, you can see them right now, right? There's a contrast there and a contrast down here. Like, the bezels on this thing right here are very small. So what you get, the size that you get, it's all filled with screen. These controllers are not too wide. The Steam Deck has very wide controllers here, and they've improved that on the Steam Deck, removed some of the bezels, right? Made more screen real estate. It's lighter. The Steam Deck is like 200 grams lighter than this, and that makes a huge difference. So there are all these considerations, but yeah, I'm good. Like, I have no regrets. I don't think I needed this. I would have been fine without having bought this, but I don't think I would be better off with a gaming laptop. I would not have be able to use a gaming laptop on the flight. It's just too cumbersome. I knew that. I knew, like, if I get a gaming desktop, the gaming laptop, that's gonna suck. I had those, and it's just they're not good on the desk as it is right now. I can have this on the desk like this, and my monitor is on top of it, you see, and I can use both. I can use my computer and this handheld together, you know. I can just leave it like this and ignore the screen and use the other one. And the way it is on the desk, it doesn't haul up my entire desk. It's not annoying. It's fine. I like it. I use it just fine like this. I can use it on top of the, again, of the keyboard and take it, handheld, or put it on and the laptops, you can partially do that. But my wife does that. She uses her laptop on her legs on bed, and if you put those supports that have like a cushion on under, and then it's a flat rigid surface on the top, and you can do that. But for gaming with a controller, I still think that's not ideal, and I still think it's not ideal anyway, because the screen is always too low. It's always too low, and I'm looking down, and I don't want to be looking down. And not to mention, I also looked at gaming notebooks, and I wanted a notebook that's the size of her notebook, because that's still more manageable, 14 inches, and they are very expensive gaming notebooks that are 14 inches. So again, just right out of this price range, over $1,000. So no, it would not have been good on the airports and everything. Like, it's just different, because it takes a lot of your space. I'm not gonna be drinking some coffee. Well, it could, but if I have this on a small bar table on a thing, like, it doesn't, I can have all my food around and stuff, and my cell phone on the table, and this thing doesn't take any space, right? It's on there without these controllers. It doesn't take any space, and I have the controllers in my hand, and I'm playing very comfortably. It's much more compact than having a notebook and a gaming controller. No, this worked really well. And yeah, that's all. I don't think I'm gonna be talking too much about this anymore, and I might not be talking about gaming too much anymore. I'm not sure. Also, 16 by 10 will be nice, and it was nice for emulation, PlayStation emulation. I played PlayStation 2, right? And with 16 by 10, you're closer to 4 by 3. This is gonna emulate, everything, Super Nintendo and all those things. And I don't put it past myself to, when I want to revisit those libraries. I don't think I'm even gonna set up my Mister again. I'll probably just install RetroArch on this thing, or not even RetroArch, just the single emulators, and just play them. And this has low input lag, and it was tested by Gamers Nexus. The screen and the controllers and everything, it's low input lag, and it's gonna be fine. It's not a problem anymore as much as it used to be. We're not dealing too much, and I have changed so much. I'm a casual gamer at this point, so I'm not gonna be chasing high scores in Gradius anymore. I don't think Gradius is not even a game that's that sensitive to input lag. It's more about memorization. It's like you have to really be in the zone and really be, and when you are, it matters. A couple frames of lag, they totally matter. You feel it immediately when you're on top of your game and you're playing retro games all the time on the best possible setup, and then you change into something else, and there is a couple extra frames of lag. You're immediately telling. You're annoyed, right? And so, but when you're just playing games to relax, it's a complete different thing, and it's a completely different game that you end up playing, right? Like I even stopped Monster Hunter Rise to Fallout, and I haven't gone back to Rise yet. I've been playing Fallout because it's so much more relaxing, and when I just want to kick my feet up and relax a little bit, oh, that's so much of a better game. That's why I took it on the airplane, because I'm not there to stress out. I'm just there to just kill time and relax, right? And yeah, it's such a relaxing game. And so that also will definitely change what kind of console you want to have and what matters or not for you. So that's it. If you have any questions, obviously feel free to ask them. I'll try to answer them in the comment section. Specifics about performance, battery life, you know, build quality or whatever. But I think this is definitely not for everyone. I think as a handheld, not tabletop, a handheld gaming device, portable, on the go, I really do believe that the Steam Deck OLED is a better overall device. And I think that these consoles, generally speaking, they might be gimmicks for a lot of people, and maybe just get a gaming PC, because you get it for $800 or $1,000. You'll get a really nice gaming PC, of course, with what today is considered to be entry level. But you have to realize, if you put a 4060 or a 4060 Ti or an RX 7700 or 6700 or something like that in a gaming PC, it's gonna be a lot more powerful than this. Like a lot more powerful. You know, and the processors too don't, like, some people maybe they think that this processor in this thing is like as good as an 8-core desktop CPU, that like, because this is the 7840U, right? This Ryzen. And so this is the equivalent of, would be like 7700 desktop part, something of the sort, right? Well, it's not. This is not as powerful as a 7700. It doesn't have as much cache. Like, it's different architecture a little bit. Like the cores themselves, I think they're pretty similar, but there are differences in architecture, especially in cache size, but also clock speeds and other things, other features that are not as power efficient. And these devices are made to be power efficient, and so they change what they change. Like, it's better at 30 watts, you know, than the desktop part would be, and it's probably using like 5 watts for the CPU itself, while these other CPUs, they're using like 100. So, you know, obviously there is a difference in performance there. You know, you think they waste 20 times more power on the desktop stuff just for nothing, and it's not just the same processor just blasting more power. They're different processors. So you could get probably a 5600 K, no, not K, 5600, not X, just the Ryzen 5 5600 is probably as powerful as this, you know, and you get that with a 4060 GPU, and you'll have much more power and upgradability. It's going to last you longer. You can make a nice build and everything. If you just want to sit on a desk and play, and that's fine, and you don't really need to game on the couch, right? But if the flexibility is important to you, I think this device right here, the Lenovo Legion Go, it might be, I'm not gonna claim that just straight up, it's definitely the most versatile, flexible device I've ever had. But it might be one of the most versatile on the market, because it really does a lot of different things, and it really can do a lot of things. And as you can imagine, it's not gonna be, you know, it's a jack of all trades, master of none, and that's absolutely true. You're not gonna get the best docked experience on a monitor, not by far. And you definitely don't get the best portability out of this. You don't get the best battery life. I mean, to me, you get very good handheld ergonomics and experience, generally speaking. I really like how it plays handheld and as a tabletop, considering everything. But again, if you just want to use it as a tabletop all the time, I'm sure there are other devices that are going to do better than this, you know, especially if you don't have a price limit, because this is also like within that price range. So it's a lot of cloud qualifiers, right? These are niche products, and that's why the audience is going to be much smaller. I don't think if you're the kind of person who would just buy a Nintendo Switch because you just want to play the games and you don't want to fiddle, and this is another thing that I forgot to talk about. If you have a problem with having to use Windows and going into Windows and changing settings and doing stuff and trying to figure out why something's not working, because I had to go into the ini files for Fallout 4 to get rid of gigantic input lag. And I had to turn off VSync in the ini file because there's no options for that in the game. And then after the update that they made to Fallout 4, I didn't check the ini file to see whether they changed it back or not, but the input lag problem was fixed, so I didn't bother. It was still fixed. So maybe they didn't change the options, the ini file, and it's still as VSync off, but maybe it's on and they fixed the input lag stuff, because it's just some dumb program. This game is so poorly made, it's just ridiculous. Don't get me wrong on that. This game is it has all kinds of problems, but if that's not what you want to do, then don't get this, because you're not gonna, this is not a console, this is not a Nintendo Switch, this is not an Xbox. You're not gonna just turn this on, buy your game, install your game, play your game, and forget about it. No, you're just not going to do that, especially because you absolutely need to, at the very least, you absolutely need to know about the power settings and manage the performance. Because if you have a gaming PC and you're buying older games, just max them out, like a desktop game PC, just max them up and play the game and it's going to run. And if you're playing a very new game, you take it down to medium settings, 1080p or something like that. If you don't want to mess with it, if you don't care, right? You just choose settings that are conservative and it just goes and plays and runs and it's fine. This is not how these handhelds work. And you'll have to mess with the settings and find something that works, unless you're playing games that are incredibly old or ridiculously easy to run. But then you have to know which games are old and easy to run and everything, right? And this is a breeze for me because I've been dealing with gaming PCs for 25 years, and I have been, gaming on PCs for the last 10 continuously, always having a gaming PC, always looking at the games, the newer games and settings and graphics cards, and I watch graphics cards reviews and things like that because it's my hobby, and so it's all part of it and it's fine. And if you just want to play a game, you might be able to get away with it a little bit with the Steam Deck. Everybody says it's way better than these other Windows handhelds as far as just booting it up and playing the games, and I believe them. The Steam Deck, either it runs the game or it doesn't run the game, or it runs with problems and you'll have to just abandon the game, and fine, but it's gonna run a lot of the mainstream stuff. But if you just want that console experience and it has to be on the go, I would still take the compromise of getting a Switch. I would still do that, because at least that kind of just works. As I said, you have to I would have to change the freaking Joy-Cons to something else, and then that's but once you've done that and you're playing your games, I think it generally works as it's supposed to. If you know anything better, then tell me, but that's it. Yeah, that's a very important aspect that I was forgetting, because to me it's second nature, right? And second nature, I don't care. I just go into Windows options and I'll mess with any files, and I'll manually go in here and change this and go there. And if I have a problem with the audio because I changed the volume but it didn't change the volume, I know better that I don't have just this button, that I can go into the Windows settings and change something over there. And sometimes I just have that feeling. I think if I just reboot the PC, it's gonna work. It's just it's just messing up right now, but I just reboot and it's gonna work. And it usually does. I don't have too many problems, right? It has been working for me. But you also have to be ready as a PC gamer to have problems sometimes, and it's what it is. So that's it. So now I'll finish this. 25 minutes of extras is good enough, and this is not going to be a channel about these devices. You can unsubscribe now if you were just looking for new Lenovo Legion Go accessories and whatever the discussions on the Lenovo Legion Go, because unless you're gonna make specific questions that are better answered in a video, I'm not gonna make another video about this probably, because I don't think, unless something pops up and for some reason I feel like I have something to say about it. But like I found my grips with this. I've been using it. It's part of my routine now. It's changed a little bit how I game and where I game and when I game, because of the machine that I'm gaming on, right? And so I don't have really much reason to go around expanding much on that, right? That's how reality should be, and that's why YouTube is so toxic and terrible. Because you got something, right, that does something, and then you're happy with it, and that's it. It's over. Your YouTube journey for that part of your life is over. And we shouldn't be buying new devices to compare them to. No, you found the one that you wanted, right? That's it. I see a lot of people, I'm sure they're buying all these devices just to make videos, and that's very healthy for the economy and for these companies, right? And for YouTube. But for us as customers and gamers and everything, why are we doing that, right? I mean, no, I don't think that's the way to go. Now, sure, tips and tricks, whatever, there are these things. I might do one about the Fallout 4 actually, because I'm confused about some things. But I'd have to talk to people first and see what they have to say. So that's it. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you around. I'll make videos still on this channel. I'm not even sure there are gonna be gaming videos. I'm not quitting the channel. I'm just saying this console, this thing, it does what it does. It really does what it's supposed to do, or what I thought it was gonna do, as well as I thought it was going to do it, and I'm very happy. And so that's all I had to say. Thanks for watching. Goodbye.